Hey, this is Jenny. Let's talk about the Filipino values and moral development. And let's focus on the strengths and weaknesses of the Filipino character. What are there in the Pinoy character that makes us strong as a people? First, ang pakikipagkapwa-tao. Kapwa-tao means a fellow human being. Filipinos are open to others and feel one with others, regard others with dignity and respect, deal with them as fellow human beings. Pakikipagkapwa-tao has basic sense of justice and fairness, concern for others, and ability to empathize with others. Helpfulness and generosity in times of need, or pakikiramay, practice of bayanihan or mutual assistance, Filipino hospitality. Sensitivity to people's feelings or pakiramdam, pagtitiwala or trust, sense of gratitude or utang na loob, very dependent on interpersonal relationships, gives sense of security, camaraderie and feeling of closeness to one another.
Pakikipagkapwa-tao is a foundation for unity as well as the sense of social justice.
Next is family orientation. Filipinos possess a genuine and deep love for family. Source of personal identity, emotional and material support, and one's main commitment and responsibility. Honor and respect given to parents and elders, care given to the children, the generosity towards kin in need, and in great sacrifices one endures for the welfare of the family. Sense of family results in a feeling of belongingness and rootedness in a basic sense of security. Third is joy and humor. Filipinos have a cheerful and fun-loving approach to life and its ups and downs. Pleasant disposition, a sense of humor, and propensity for happiness that contribute not only to the Filipino charm, but also to the indubitability of the Filipino spirit. Laughing at ourselves and the mess we are in is an important coping mechanism. Playful, sometimes disrespectful, we laugh at those we love and at those we hate, and we make jokes about our good fortune and bad, manifested in Filipinos' love for socials and celebrations, to laugh even in the most trying of times. The result is a certain emotional balance, optimism, a healthy disrespect for power and office, and the capacity to survive. We have flexibility, adaptability, and creativity. We can adjust and to adopt circumstances and the surrounding environment, both physical and social. Adjust to whatever happens, even in unplanned or anticipated events. We possess a tolerance for ambiguity that enables us to remain unfazed by uncertainty or lack of information. Creative, resourceful, quick learners can improvise and make use of whatever is at hand in order to create and produce, accepts change, adapts to life in any part of the world, in the ability to make new things out of old scraps, created in cultural sphere. The result is productivity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and equanimity. Fifth is hard work and industry. We have the capacity for hard work given proper conditions, to raise one's standard of living and to possess the essentials of decent life for one's family. We are willing to take the risk with jobs abroad and while there to work at 2 or 3 jobs. The result is productivity and entrepreneurship for some and survival despite of poverty. 6 is faith and religiosity. Filipinos have deep faith in God. Our innate religiosity enables us to comprehend and genuinely accept reality in the context of God's will and plan. Religious expressions is very tangible, expressed every day. We relate to God like a human being. Threaten, thank, ask forgiveness, appease by pledge. Tragedy and bad fortune are accepted and some optimism characterizes even the poorest life. Related to Bahala, which may be considered positively as a reservoir of psychic energy, a psychological prop on which we can lean during hard times. This pampalakas ng loob allows us to act despite uncertainty. 7. Again, faith and religiosity. Our faith and daring was manifest at EDSA and other times in our history, seen in the capacity to accept failure and defeat. We recognize forces external to ourselves as contributing to how events in our lives turned out. The results of the Filipinos' faith are courage, daring optimism, inner peace, as well as the capacity to genuinely accept tragedy and death. And lastly, for strengths of the Filipino character is the ability to survive. Filipinos have an ability to survive. Filipinos make do what is available in the environment. Basic optimism, flexibility, and adaptability, hard work, and a deep faith in God. It is manifested in the millions of Filipinos who bravely live through the harshest economic and social circumstances. What we might be able to do under better circumstances. What about weaknesses in character? First, extreme personalism. Filipinos view the world in terms of personal relationships. No separations between an objective task and emotional involvement. We tend to give personal interpretations to actions, just like taking things personally. Thus, a sincere question may be viewed as a challenge to one's competence, or positive feedback may be interpreted as a sign of special affection. There is, in fact, some basis for such interpretations, as Filipinos are quite personal in criticism and praise. Personalism is also manifested in the necessity for the establishment of personal relationships before any business or work relationship can be successful. Next is another extreme personalism. Because of this personalistic worldview, Filipinos have difficulty dealing with all forms of personal stimuli. We tend to be uncomfortable with bureaucracy, with rules and regulations, and with standard procedures, all of which tend to be impersonal. We tend to ignore them or we ask for exceptions. Personal contacts are involved in any transaction, and these are difficult to turn down. Preference is usually given to family and friends in hiring, delivery of services, and even voting. Extreme personalism thus leads to the graft and corruption evident in Philippine society. Third is extreme family-centeredness. Excessive concern for the family creates an in-group to which the Filipino is firstly loyal to detriment of concern for the larger community or for the common good. Excessive concern for family manifests itself in the use of one's office and power as a means of promoting the interest of the family, factionalism, patronage, and political dynasties, and in the protection of erring family members. Family centeredness results to a lack of concern for the common good and acts as a block to national consciousness. Fourth is lack of discipline. Filipinos' lack of discipline is manifest in a casual and relaxed attitude towards time and space, which manifests itself in lack of precision and compulsiveness, in poor time management and procrastination, an aversion for following strictly a set of procedures, and this results in lack of standardization and quality control. We are impatient and unable to delay gratification or reward, resulting in the use of shortcuts in skirting the rules or the palusot syndrome, and in foolhardiness. We are guilty of ningas kugon, starting out projects with full vigor and interest which abruptly die down, leaving things unfinished. Our lack of discipline often results in efficient and wasteful work systems, violations of rules, leading to more serious transgressions, and a casual work ethic leading to carelessness and lack of follow through. Fifth, passivity and lack of initiative. Filipinos are generally passive and lacking in initiative. There is strong reliance on others, like leaders, government, to do things for us related to our need for a strong authority. Filipinos tend to be complacent and there rarely is a sense of urgency about any problem. There is high tolerance for inefficiency, poor service, and even violations of one's basic rights. In many ways, it can be said that the Filipino is too patient and long-suffering, or what we call in Tagalog, matiisin. To easily resign to one's fate, Filipinos are thus easily oppressed and exploited. Six is colonial mentality. The culture is characterized by an openness to the outside, adopting and incorporating the foreign elements into our image of ourselves, not built around a deep core of Philippine history and languages. The Filipino colonial mentality is manifested in the alienation of the elite from their roots and from the masses, as well as in the basic feeling of national inferiority that makes it difficult for Filipinos to relate as equals to Westerners. 7th is kanya-kanya syndrome. Filipinos have a selfish,
self-serving attitude that generates a feeling of envy and competitiveness towards others, particularly one's peers who seem to have gained some status or prestige. The kanya-kanya syndrome is also evident in the personal ambition and the drive for power and status that is completely insensitive to the common good. Personal and in-group interest reign supreme. This characteristic is also evident in the lack of a sense of service among people in the government bureaucracy. The public is made to feel that service from these offices and from these civil servants is an extra perk that is to be paid for. The kanya-kanya syndrome results in the dampening of cooperative and community spirit and in the trampling upon the rights of others. Last of weaknesses of the Filipino character is lack of self-analysis. There is a tendency in Filipino to be superficial and even somewhat flighty. In the face of serious problems, both personal and social, there is a lack of analysis or reflection. We joke about the most serious matters, and this prevents looking deeply into the problem. There is no felt to validate our hypotheses or explanations of things. Thus, we are satisfied with superficial explanation and superficial solutions to the problems. We tend to emphasize on form or maporma rather than on substance to be satisfied with rhetoric and to substitute this for reality. Rhetoric and endless words are very much part of public discourse. As long as the right things are said, as long as the proper documents and reports exist, as long as the proper committees, task force, or offices are formed, Filipinos are deluded into believing that what ought to be actually exists. The Filipino lack of self-analysis and our emphasis on norms is reinforced by an educational system that is often more form than substance and a legal system that tends to substitute law for reality.